Janasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakchurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutaye Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vikamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Dapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishalusute Pranamami Hariple Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Thank you. It's a real honor to be here in Mombasa, Iskcon Mombasa. And I'd like to seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees so that I may be able to speak something worthwhile. So today we're reading from chapter 11, text number 46. So we'll start with the Sanskrit recitation. Karitinam Gadinam Chakrahastam Ichami Svam Drastam Aham Taveva Teneva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasya Baho Baba Visvamarte Karitinam Gadinam Chakrahastam
Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam
Ichami Svam Drastam Aham Taveva
Ichami Svam Drastam Aham Taveva
Teneva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasra Baho Baba Visvamarte When would like to join the recitation?
Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam Ichami Tvam Drastumaham Tataiva Teneva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasrabaho Bhava Vishwamurte Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam
Baho Baba Vishwamurti.
Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Yuritinam Kadinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kirtinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti.
Ladies, please, if you like.
Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti. Kiritinam Garinam Chakrahastam. Ichami Tvam Rasumaham Tataiva. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Sahasrabahu Baba Vishwamurti.
So the translation and the Sanskrit. So a translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. So, a translation one more time. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord,
O thousand-armed Lord,
I wish to see you in your four-armed form,
I wish to see you in your form,
with helmeted head,
with helmeted head,
and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands.
and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands.
I long to see you in that form.
I long to see you in that form.
And purport. In the Brahma Samhita 539, it is stated, Ramadi Martinishu Kalamiya Mena Tistan. The Lord is eternally situated in hundreds and thousands of forms, and the main forms are those like Rama, Narasimha, Narayan, etc. They are innumerable forms. What Arjuna knew, Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, assuming his temporary universal form. He is now asking to see the form of Narayan, a spiritual form. This verse establishes, without any doubt, the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all other features originate from him. He is not different from his plenary expansions, and he is God in any of his innumerable forms. In all of these forms, he is fresh like a young man. That is the constant feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who knows Krishna becomes free at once from all contamination of the material world. So, in this verse, in this chapter is a universal form, and it's, Arjuna is a bit terrified and awestruck by the universal form that he no longer wishes to see it as a devotee of the Lord. He wants to actually see the Lord in his more personal feature. So he's asking here for the four-armed form of Krishna. So Krishna has many different forms. As I stated, he's the original person. So it's said like all these forms are just like a candle, and that Krishna in his personal form, as I said, it was stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, so that he's just like the original candle from which all others light. So all these other candles are some similar quality. So this is what is known as Vishnu Tattva. So it's Krishna in his actually, Vishnu Tattva is the actual Supreme Personality of Godhead. So something that I've particularly in London, in UK and Bhaktivedanta Manor, many devotees visit the temple, but a lot of them have no idea about Krishna or Lord Chaitanya or Krishna consciousness, and so many of these are general Hindus who visit the temple, and I find myself having to explain exactly Krishna's position. So that we see in the Vedas, in the scriptures, it mentions such and such personality is the supreme, such and such demigod is what we describe them, who are personalities who oversee the functions of the material world. So it's definitely very important to understand that Lord Chaitanya has actually introduced or elaborated on the philosophy of Achintya Veda Tattva as simultaneously one and different. So Srila Prabhupada he even spoke about, he said that your mother and your father is Krishna. So this is not to be taken literally, but is to see it from simultaneously one and different. Is that it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mata Mata Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Padanti Mam Bodhabhava Samanvitaha. That Krishna says, I am the source of all material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly well engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. So of all this is what we call the external energy of the Lord, the material world, is all Krishna's energy. So we can see that everything is Krishna's energy. So in this way, everything is Krishna. And we can simply take these statements in the Vedas in light of this simultaneously one and different, that these personalities are actually representatives and are actually carrying out the functions of this material world under the Supreme Lord's order. So we can see that in this way we can see that they are their supreme or their connection to the supreme, but we know that Krishna is the original person. So that's something which is very important to understand. And we had a nice introduction the last day about the history of Mombasa Temple, and it was mentioned that Sri Prabhupada described this as Mombasa like heaven, and I can definitely see that. Yeah, that it's very beautiful place. But that being said, when we think of the heavenly planets, it's still the material world, and there's still danger at every step. So nothing in this material world is perfect. But the temple, as a spiritual embassy, is Vaikuntha. So it definitely is perfect, actually. And so nothing is perfect in this material world. All the living entities, they're experiencing the conditioned effects of material life, which are imperfect senses. They're prone to illusion, to make mistakes, and to cheating propensity. So all living entities are conditioned by this. So we can't get perfect knowledge in this material world. So Krishna, in his different expansions and efficient forms, says, Pritranaya sadhanam vinishjaya chadusritam dhamastam sarpanartaya sampavami yuge, that I myself, I come millennium after millennium to deliver the pious and alive to miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, because this is what is lost in the material world, is actual knowledge. People are suffering due to lack of knowledge. And people are so engrossed in material sense gratification. And this is the nature of this material world. Dwarkadi's Rukmini ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Govinda ki. So people are so absorbed in material sense gratification, and they're suffering the results of being so engrossed in this material world. So Krishna appears in order to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. So said Bogas Varya Prasakta Nam Deya Bharta Zetasam Yadyasak Syatmika Bodhi, that basically that those who are too absorbed in sense gratification, this resolute determination for devotional service does not take place. So this is the nature of this material world, is that people are just so engrossed in material sense gratification that they need the mercy so much. And in the material world, each living entity is actually trying to be like the Lord themselves and try and lord it over the material nature. So these are the two propensities of every living entity, is actually to be the enjoyer and the controller. So Krishna comes to actually re-establish the principles of religion. And this is what we call the science of yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the science of devotion. So our actual duty is become, as is mentioned in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, to become actually equipoised and free from this duality of material existence. And material life and this material world is, as is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, is like a perverted reflection. So it's like the banyan tree which is on the water. So like, as we see, Mombasa is like a heavenly ram, but we can see if you look closely, it's really not, it's still the material world in which the different kinds of suffering caused by ourselves, our own bodies and minds, other living entities, deities and the demigods are nature. So this is our situation, to become free from this. And naturally in the material world, as we see even in the animal kingdom, it's basically the survival of the fittest, and one is food for another. This is the way the material world is made. Even ourselves, we can't survive without actually having to take life, whether it be a plant and so on, which may seem insignificant, but as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, everything we eat, if we don't offer to him, we barely eat only sin. So this is the unfortunate condition of this material world. And we can see that even coming from UK, from more west, we can see that it's still very much the same. Here in Africa, it's a consumer society. It goes by the modes of passion and ignorance, just like anywhere else. And people are, consuming and still living in a way which is not practical and not conducive to happiness. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, if you want to actually to know him fully, Bhajyamam abhigyanati yavanyasya vitattvataha atomam tattvato visate tatanantaram. And if you actually want to know Krishna fully, we can only know him by devotional service, by surrendering unto him. And through that consciousness we can become free to actually get out of this material world. So Krishna is representative, the spiritual master, and what's lost is the parampara, the specific succession, whereby we can actually, where we preserve this knowledge, and by surrendering unto the Lord, we, through the spiritual master, he can impart the true knowledge unto us. So there's something which I'd like to actually to share. Sri Prabhupada spoke about sharing our realizations. So this is something which I wrote as a reflection of what I've learned in terms of the actual the state of this material world and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a poem actually that I'd like to share, which describes about Sri Prabhupada, he mentioned about in this material world, he mentioned about factories, and in Srimad Bhagavatam he says factory means hell. So this is a factory is like seen as a sign as the epitome of material life, which is ignorance and passion. So this is just a very short poem which I'd like to share. So the factory, so I call it the factory. The factory walls, expansive and plain, the car park full, each space in measured row. Some lonely trees, they stand amidst the rain, and round the clock, employees come and go. The machines running through each day and night, the competitive push, always replied. And that's the way supply must meet demand. Laboring continues, a constant chase, a firm salute as consumers command. They toil and slog and move apace. The cause of this, an artificial need, arising solely due to mankind's greed. Our dear Mother Earth, exploited for lust, mercilessly ransacked by reprobates. The common man blindly follows with trust, while competition heightens among states. Different factions concerned with their lot, fervorous in desire, they scheme and plot. And where are faces, warm with lamp and sea, and where is God amongst their business? Sense gratification their hearts decree, for temporary gain comes endless stress. a superficial life the only goal, and more distant their joyful soul. So that's something which I wrote with the intention of actually trying to describe this material world in terms of actually that people aren't actually getting happiness, that happiness can't be found in material things. So it's said in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, Brahma Buddha Prasanatma Asoshati Nakanshati Samaha Sarveshri Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Lamate Param, that when those who actually have become free from the influence of the material modes, they become fully joyful and satisfied and become equal to all living entities and equally disposed. And then from in that actual state, they become fully joyful. So this is the nature of actually transcendence, that the soul is Satchit Anand. And when we actually engage in the service of the Lord, it said, Sarvapati Vinirmuktam Tatprati Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchite, that our senses become purified and we become free from all material designations. So we become free from our actual, from being actually identified with the body. And as I mentioned earlier, this is how we get knowledge. To have faith, we have to actually take shelter of those who are free from such designations. So, and this is the process by which we can actually take faith. That it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramandamam Pursam Saspadam Devyam Adidevam Jamabhum. And then it's mentioned further on about the sages. Amchus Rishi Sarve Devarishi Narastata. So Asito Deva Vogyasa Swayam Deva Vishini. So this is our process. That describes that those who actually learned in the science and have actually realized and embodied devotional service, and those personalities we can actually have faith in. So His Divine Grace, His Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, we can take a lot of faith in Srila Prabhupada, and we can have faith in his words and the words of the previous acharyas, and from this verse he mentions Asita Deva Vyasa, that all these personalities have declared Krishna as the original person, as a supreme truth. So instead of actually thinking we can work everything out on ourselves, by ourselves, we can actually take shelter of the parampara system and the authorities on Vedic knowledge, and make life very simple. It said after many births, one who's actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. So those who are jnanis and different types of yogis, reading the revealed scriptures and so on, in search of knowledge, it's not going to actually, it will be fruitful, but it's going to take a longer time and much more difficulty. So Lord Chaitanya has given us this Yuga Dharma of chanting the Lord's names, and a very easy process for this age, whereby we can very easily cross beyond the difficulties of this material world and engage in the Lord's service, and then become fully happy and joyful. So if you can all please chant together, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to hear any corrections or any comments and such. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, you quoted the verse where Krishna says that we can only know him through devotion. And you added that we can only know Krishna through devotion and by surrendering unto terms, devotion and surrender. How can we sort of link these two terms?
For me, I see them as the same, meaning the same. That if you're devoted to the Lord, that's naturally surrender. So I don't see any. For me, I don't see any difference. Just I know there's we have as well. We may have full devotion, like it said in the Bible Gita, 10:10. Sorry, 10:10. Stat tesham stasata bhutanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam priyantite. So those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the intelligence by which they come to me. So we may have full devotion right now. So from any, as Sri Baba said, from any second, we can be fully devoted. But our actual awakening and our real true inner devotion will have to be awakened, which is our true surrender to actually come to Krishna. So we can have we can continue with full vigor, full enthusiasm to try and come to Krishna, but in time that full surrender will naturally come as it said that those who are constantly serving the Lord, there's two side effects, which is causeless knowledge and detachment. So that this detachment will mean naturally attachment to Krishna. Yeah. If that's okay.
And the term surrender sort of feels negative to someone who's been engrossed in sense gratificatory activities. How can we easily change this perception to feel that surrender, I'm giving away my actions, I have nothing for myself, and to make it feel like it's a sweet, or it's a pleasurable thing to do.
Yeah, I suppose just when we actually when we're armed with knowledge, we can see clearly that we can see things into a proper perspective and in our own day-to-day life. It said that to be surrendered, surrender on these words like like a servant and stuff like this. People don't want to be a servant, but we can practically see in our own lives by actually engaging in devotional service. And it said we recite it every morning. Lord Chaitanya, she's asked to come prayers to become Lord into blade of grass and so on like that. And then we can constantly chant the Lord's names. So to actually embrace this and to develop attachment to chanting and devotional service, we can actually we can feel that the proof is in the pudding. We can see that we become more happy and joyful. And as Sri Baba said, in our constitutional position, everyone's cup is full. So we'll be fully happy beyond what we can comprehend. And we can. It's also mentioned. I remember His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, he was asked a question that I don't feel. Some devotee said, I'm doing the process of devotional service, but I don't feel happy right now. And then he said, okay, but with this knowledge, if we're not happy, we might have to go through our material circumstances and our conditioning to fully achieve a very blissful state. But he said, if you can't be happy devotees right now, at least be intelligent devotees. So with the knowledge and we can actually that Krishna gives us tastes, and we can see that devotional service is very joyful. But material circumstances come and go, like I said, like the seasons. So we can still be joyful and surrender with intelligence. to any more questions. Yes, in the Gopal.
You mentioned that this was an imperfect world. I was just wondering that, Krishna being perfect, this world is a perfect world. It's just that the entity with his desires makes it an imperfect world.
Yes, yeah.
Or the other understanding is that because this is the material world, it's imperfect in the sense that we shouldn't be there.
Yes. Yes, yeah. Yes, thank you, that's a good point. As is mentioned in the Shri's Upanishad, that all emanations are complete in a whole. So this material world is also complete in a whole, but so it's perfectly imperfect. So because the Lord doesn't, he wants our love and not the externals. So it's as mentioned in the Bible Gita also, that as we contemplate on this material world, we develop attachment and lust, and then ultimately anger arises. So we get frustrated naturally by this material world, and so that's a perfect design. So we can be like a fish in the water again. So I think we'll stop here. Unless anyone has anything else they'd like to say or ask. Thank you. Bhagavad Gita ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, all glories to Assembled devotees.
David Prabhu ki.